Hello everyone, welcome to the class. In our previous session, we have discussed 10 questions. Those were PYQs from the last 5 years from NE-SLET. And in today's session, we are going to discuss another 10 questions from the same last 5 years PYQ. And we have selected very core type of important questions from the last 5 years question paper. So this is the first question for today's session. As we have already discussed 10 questions before, that's why the question number is 11. But for today's session, this is the question number 1. So the question is asking the arithmetic mean of 4 integers was computed as 15. Okay, so there will be 4 integers and the pen is kind of glitching. No problem. We have explanation slide, so it will be very easy for us. So as the question is saying, 4 integers was computed as 15. Later, it was seen that 10 was wrongly taken as 30. It means it should have to be 10, but the calculation has taken 30 wrongly. So what will be the correct mean? So this is very easy. The question is, again, I am going to explain it. The question is saying that arithmetic mean of 4 integers was computed as 15. Later, it was seen that 10 was wrongly taken as 30. Okay, so what will be the correct mean? So here are the options. You can try to attempt this question. And as it is super easy question, we will just quickly go to the explanation slide and I will make you understand this question. You need to just mind this. This is the numbers, 4 integers are there. This is the computed mean, arithmetic mean. So quickly go to the explanation part. As the arithmetic mean is given as 15, 4 integers are there. These are 4. So already it has said that the 10 was written as 30. So you already know that the sum will be as a wrong sum it will come. So no problem. First we need to mark the sum. So you just make this 2 into of this 2. Okay, this pen is not working properly. No problem. So 15 into 4, you have got 60. Okay, now what you need to do, the 10 was taken as 30. You already know. So just that 10 you need to minus from this 30. So you will get 20. Here I have mentioned this. Okay. Now you need to find the correct sum because this was the wrong sum. Now you need to find the correct sum from this 20. That's why you just minus this 20 from this 60. Okay. So 60 minus 20, you will get 40. As this pen is not working properly, so you just focus on the already given explanation. Okay. So now you have got the correct sum of that this particular question. Now you have just got the sum, but the question is asking that you need to find the mean also, correct mean. So what you will do, you have got this sum and you always divided it by the integers. So those are 4 in the question is saying. So you just do it and you have got the answer as 10. So option D is the correct answer. This is very easy question, comes in the PYQ. So you need to remember this, that whenever this type of question is there, you just go for the wrong sum, then you later you minus that correct number from the wrong plotted number, then you get the correct sum, and from that correct sum you get the correct mean. Okay, so I hope you will remember this one. Now going to the next question. So question number 12 or question number 2 for this session. So it is asking that 84,000 is a publishing concern which aims to translate all of what? So this is actually asking about the works of Buddha. So here are our explanation slide. You need to know about the Buddha's words. So the project 84,000 project aims to translate the complete Buddhist uh, canonical text that is called as Tripitaka into modern languages. You need to know about this. Sometimes there may be this word comes in the exam, Tripitaka, and the number that is 84,000 refers symbolically to Buddha's teachings. Okay, so whenever you find this 84,000, you always remember this as Buddha's words. Okay, now moving to the next question, question number 13 or question number 3 for today's session. So the question is asking theory or research, which comes first? Okay, you need to know that which one comes first. There are a few options are here. So quickly checking the options. So first option is saying theory because it provides insight. Okay, let's see the other options. Option number B is saying research because that is the only way to develop theory. Okay, but in this type of question, you always need to go for the most promising, most logical type of option or answer. And option C is saying it depends on one point of view. No. So option number D, it is saying the question is meaningless. Now, if you don't know the theory and research, so you need to know that theory maybe this one and research work you are doing. So you cannot say something is comes first because there may be some theory and after that you are doing some research to prove those theories, and for example there may be a research and after the research you may get some theory. So these are two different type of things related to each other, but you cannot say something is like first or some portion is in last, so you cannot say that. Okay, that's why option number D is the correct one for this, as it is saying that the question is meaningless, and as these are PYQs, you need to think about it logically. But now you just quickly understand it the same from the explanation slide. So here I have mentioned that theory and research are inter dependent. See, for example, there is a theory, you can do research on it, you can prove it or discard it, and there is already a research. After that research you may form some theories. Okay, so these are interdependent, but you cannot say which one comes first because nothing comes first in this type of theory and research field. Okay, so again you need to know that theory guides research, that is true. Research tests and refines theory, which is also true. Okay, now neither comes absolutely first, they develop together. So you need to remember this one. Okay, they actually develop together, and so the given question is actually incomplete. Okay, that's why in this type of question you need to be very careful. Now moving to the next question. This is very common question, very favorite question of NE-SLET. So it is asking about the full form of MOOC, MOOC. So you already know the correct answer for this question, that is massive open online courses. Option number B is the correct one. We have discussed this one briefly in our daily discussion session. So you have already got to know it. So in this type of question, you cannot miss the correct answer. Okay, so you need to know about them. Now here is a brief explanation for MOOC. So it is already a massive open online course. You already know about it. Now you need to know what these letters are representing. So massive, it means there is a large participation in that particular program. Then open, it means accessible for all. It is online, internet-based program, and courses are structured for the learning purposes. Okay. Now moving to the next question. So this question number 15 is asking which of the following best explains teaching models. So here are some options. We will go towards the options. So first option is saying learning models. Okay, we can check that. Next is saying instructional models. Next is saying teacher models. Next is saying learner instructions. So as the question is asking, best explains teaching model. Okay, so whenever it is saying teaching model, teacher model cannot be an answer. Learner instructions, this is something different. Learning model, it may confuse you, but this is also different. This is not the correct answer. For this type of teaching model, there should have to be instructional models. Okay, teaching model, you need to know instructional. We have discussed this one in our daily discussion classes, so I hope you all remember this. Teaching models that best represented by this instructional models. Okay, we have an explanation slide of the same. So as you know, instructional models, teaching models describe structured methods or strategies used by teachers to organize instruction and learning experiences for the students. Okay, so these are essentially instructional models. So whenever you see teaching model, you need to remember this one. Okay, this is basically a guide or a practice kind of thing, how the teaching should have to be delivered in the classroom. That is very important, because in future, after clearing SLET, you are also going to be a teacher. So these things are very important, because this is a part of teaching aptitude, and you also know about these things. Okay, now we can move to the next question. Question number 16 is asking, dash research relies on experience or observation alone, often without due regard to system and theory. It is database research. So from these four types, which one is the correct one? Answer you need to find. So the correct answer, you can see in our discussion session, we have discussed that empirical research, that basically relies on experiences or observations alone. Okay, basically without the system or theory. So empirical research is the correct answer for this question, and we have an explanation slide for it. So quickly understand this one from here. So empirical research is based on direct observation or experiences. You just need to remember this sentence and you will get the answer. So we can quickly elaborate this one. So rather than theory alone, empirical research mostly based on the direct observation. If you have observing or experiencing something directly, then that will comes under empirical research, and it involves collecting data through experiments, surveys, and observations. Okay, so that's the brief explanation for this one. Now we can quickly move to the next question. So question number 17 is asking, which one of the following is not a barrier to effect communication? In our discussion class, we have already discussed that there are some barriers regarding communication. To complete a communication, there should have to be less barrier or no barrier, and many a times your information got disrupted by these barriers. So, as the question is asking, not a barrier. So it means you need to find that appropriate option which does not fulfill this barrier kind of thing. So in these options, you can definitely see noise, that is a barrier. Okay, but the question is asking not a barrier. Unclear graphic, it is also a barrier in online kind of communications, online teachings. Then inattention, this is another barrier, because someone is not giving attention towards the lecture or towards the class, so it is also a barrier. But a location cannot be a barrier for the communication. It means in these four options, the location is the most logical and suitable answer for this one, because it is not a barrier, because the others are 100% barriers, and location, for these four options, you have to go for the most logical one, and this is the most logical one. So for now, you need to know that location cannot be a barrier, and this is the correct answer for this question, as it is asking not a barrier. Okay, now moving to the next question. Again, we have given an explanation. So the common communication barrier includes noise, inattention, it means someone is not giving attention, then unclear presentation, unclear graphics, and then in terms of location, it is not necessarily a communication barrier unless it creates some disturbances. If your location is not creating any disturbances, then it cannot be a barrier for communication. Okay. So as I'm saying, you have to mark the most appropriate or most logical answer. If there is some other logical answer, you need to go for that too. Okay. Now, because you always have to find that most logical answer, because the question makes that way to make you go confused. Now, question number 18 is saying, two statements are there. Statement 1, statement 2. Statement 1 is saying cache memory is faster than random access memory. Okay, we have discussed this one in our discussion session class, in the ICT class. So which is correct. Okay, now random access memory is closer to the processor than cache memory. You already got the answer. This is not a correct one, because it should have to be reversed. Random access memory never uh, be close to the processor. Rather, cache memory used to be closer to the processor. Okay, so as the statement number 2 is wrong and statement number 1 is correct, we need to go for the correct option. We can find the correct option, not this one. Both statement, not this one. This one is the correct one. Statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is incorrect. Okay, so option number C is the correct one for this question. Okay, you already know that cache memory is faster than random access memory, that is RAM. Okay, then random access memory is closer. No, not actually closer to processor, but the cache memory is closer to processor. Okay, you need to remember this. So here I have an we have an explanation slide also, where you can see statement 1 is correct, 2 is incorrect. Why? Because cache memory is actually faster than RAM, which is true. Then cache memory is located closer to CPU. We have already discussed this one, and I hope you can remember this for the coming exam. So if the word comes like cache memory closer to CPU, then it will be true. But in the question, it is written that RAM is closer to CPU, which is not correct. That's why we have went with the option number C. Okay. Now question number 19. I have added the explanation part here only. No problem. So this is also, I mean, all the questions are PYQs. So this question is asking decibel is the unit for. So you already know that decibel is the unit for sound, that is the intensity of sound. It means how much the sound is intense. Okay, so decibel used to represent by this small d and capital B. Pen is not properly working, so I'm so sorry for that. Yeah. So this is the sign for decibel, small d and capital B. So you already know that decibel used to measure the intensity of sound. So here we have added an explanation where you can see decibel measures the intensity of sound, or maybe actually the loudness of sound, and it expresses the ratio of sound pressure levels. Okay, so which is very basic. I hope you all know about it. Decibel you all know. So next question for this session, I think this is the last question because we are taking 10 questions for a particular session. This is kind of a quick capsule so that you can get it before the exam. So question number 20, or the last question of this session, it is saying the measure components of the NMEICT are. You need to find the correct options from here. So quickly checking the options given. First one is to provide books and stationery items to the student. Okay, we can check it for later, but I don't think so. NMEICT provides books or stationery items because, as you know, it is written ICT, so it never provides books or stationery items to the student. So this is wrong. Okay. Now we can go to the next option. It is asking to provide connectivity, which is correct, along with provision to access devices, which is also correct, and to the institutions and learners. Okay, option number 2 is correct. But in the options, you can see 2 options are there. It means you need to go for some more options. So as you know, option number 2 is correct. So this will be not your answer. From these 2, we need to find it. Okay. Now option number 3 is saying to facilitate travel of girl student to attend educational institution. No, this is also not a correct option. So next is asking content generation. Yes, as it is from the ICT. So which is correct? 4 is correct. We can quickly look to the option number 5. It is saying to provide scholarship to poor students to support their education. For this one, it is not an appropriate option, but for this one, you can go with option number 2 and option number 4. Okay, content generation and to provide connectivity along with provision to access devices and to institution and learners. It means option number C, having 2 and 4 are correct. This is the correct answer. Quickly checking the explanation slide. Okay. So in this slide, you can see 2 and 4 are correct. So the NMEICT ICT, you all know, but NME, you need to know. It may come in the coming exam. Okay, so you need to know the full form of it. The National Mission on Educational or Education through ICT. Okay, the full form of NMEICT is National Mission on Education through ICT. It means National Mission on Education, but through ICT, through Information and Communication Technology. So it focuses on providing connectivity and ICT infrastructures. And next is digital content generation is also a kind of prime field of this particular mission. Okay, so it does not focus on scholarship, does not focus on distribution of books and travel facilities. It basically focuses on these two. You need to remember it provides connectivity and ICT infrastructure, and also it provides digital content generation. So that was it, the second session with another 10 questions. So we can conclude this in here, and we will again meet with the next 10 questions. So I think I can end this session here, and thank you for joining with us.